So I'm playing around with the walk cycle here, and what I want to do is prep this and get it ready for my environment. One of the things that I want you to do, if you change the timing of your frames per second for the GIF that we did with our character, I want you to change it back to 24 frames per second. And there's a reason behind this. Just want you to know that we're going to adjust our walk cycle in the timeline to make it smoother and maybe not as fast. Because I have these things hidden here, and even though they're hidden, if I go to test my movie out, I can see a lot of things here. A lot of the practice layers that I've created, reference layers are showing up. I can see my rough walk cycle in there, and guidelines and things that I don't need to see. Also, my character is walking super fast at 24 frames per second. That's a problem. We're going to fix that in a different way other than changing the frames per second. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to choose the layers that I don't want to see anymore. Even though they're chosen to be invisible at this point, I'm going to select these layers, and I'm going to do what's called making them a guide, which means I'm not deleting them, but they're also just there for my reference. So I'm going to guide on those. So now if I go to play, there he goes. He's walking quick, but he's walking, by himself without all the other things happening. Now, let's look at what we can do about that speed that he's walking. Because if I had him walking that fast and I built an environment for him, that environment would be racing through. So we don't really want that to happen. So what I want to do is extend this out. So his tie down is what I want to work with. So this tie down layer, I'm going to hold shift and select the first and the last frame there. We animated this on ones, and what's going to make this smoother is, and a little bit slower, normal pace, is animating it by twos. And that means does not mean I'm going to redo any of this. I'm going to extend. I'm going to take my mouse and hover at the end, my last frame where I see the double arrows. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to drag it out. And right now it took 16 frames to make what I have. So if I go to frame 32, it tells me right there, the little black box says ×2, which means I'm doubling my frames here. So I'm going to drag to that and let go. Now it's animated by twos. And so if I go to play it now, it's a normal pace, right? One single walk cycle. That's good. Another thing that I want to do is one single walk cycle is not quite enough to animate a background and show your character walking through its background. So what we want to do is add to this, not by drawing more, but instead by copying what we have. So I'm going to shift and select all of those frames again, and I'm going to right click, copy these frames, go to the very next frame, right click, paste the frames. I'm going to do that with these. I'm going to select all of these now. I'm going to right click, copy the frames, next frame, right click, paste the frames, and that takes me now beyond 5 seconds, which is exactly what I need. 5 good seconds of a walk cycle would be perfect. So it takes me a little bit beyond that, but that's fine. Now, last step I want to do for organizing our character here is I'm going to choose this new folder here, and I'm going to drag that to the top. I'm going to call this character, hit enter, and I'm going to take shift and select all of these, and I'm going to drag them under. I'll see that little line right there. I'm going to click and drag them up, and so now they're kind of tucked into that folder, and I can close this down, and now my character just takes up one layer. I don't have to have all of that unless I actually needed to get in there to do something. So that is setting up our character for our timeline. Notice that all of the keyframes for that character are hidden unless I actually go in here. But since our character is basically going to be walking at the pace that we created, then right now our work for our character is pretty much done for now. So I'll see y'all for the next step where we're going to get into for building up our environment around our character.